Good morning, Joslyn Center Facebook Live fans. My name is Jack Newby. I'm Executive Director here at the Joslyn Center in Palm Desert. Glad you can join us for our interview Friday. We'll be having a really interesting interview in a few minutes. But before we get to that, I want to cover some of the things that are happening here at the Joslyn Center. Coming up early next week is Cinco de Mayo. We have a Cinco de Mayo party that's presented by Desert Oasis Healthcare. If you want to attend, you need to give a call or sign up at our front desk. It's on Friday, May 5th at noon, and it's $10. So drop by, sign up at our front desk because reservations are required so we can make sure we have enough food for you. And then speaking of food, Wednesday, May 10th from 11 to 1 is International Potluck Day. So bring a dish that represents your nationality, and those that bring a dish you'll be able to eat together. So there's no extra people here. It's bring a dish that will feed about 10 to 12 people. Last day to sign up is actually today, April 28th. So run in real quick and sign up for that. Also, we have coming up pickleball lessons with Henry, and that's on Fridays from 10 to 11, and that's starting May 12th. So if you want to learn pickleball, which is the most popular sport sweeping the valley right now, drop on by and get those lessons with Henry, Fridays 10 to 11 a.m. starting May 12th. And also, this is something we haven't seen it around very much. It's a driving course for older adult drivers. It's called Age Well, Drive Smart. It's presented by the California Highway Patrol, and that's Friday, May 26th at 11 a.m. So again, you can sign up at the Joslyn Center front desk or call 760-340-3220 to sign up. And we have our health and wellness fair coming up, and that's something for everybody. We're going to have medical seminars, glucose and blood pressure screenings, body mass index, opportunity drawings. So that's Wednesday, May 31st, 9 to noon, and that's presented by Desert Oasis Healthcare. We really appreciate their support. And finally, the Joslyn Wellness Center, we have coming up on May 8th, our Brain Boot Camp. That's a 2-session course, May 8th and 15th. And that's really a great course. It was developed by UCLA Longevity Institute. And you will learn brain health, how your diet affects your brain, how to improve your memory. So that's a wonderful class. It's lots of fun. Again, you can pre-register by calling 760-340-3220, extension 117. And if you'd like to find out information about any of our classes or programs, you can visit our website at joslyncenter.org. That's JOSLYN center.org. So now we're going to get started with our interview. We're talking with Alena Callimanis. I probably ruined that name, so why don't you tell us who you are?
Sure. It's Alena Callimanis.
Alena Callimanis. Okay, sorry, Alena. So Alena is with us from a great program called Read With Me. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what that program is and what it does?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. The program, we recruit seniors, semi-retired, retired volunteers, and we train them and have them assigned to schools where they actually go into the schools during the school day and work with the students to help them with their English pronunciation, with reading, comprehension, and so on. So we actually have our volunteers work one-on-one or sometimes two-on-one with students to help them improve their English skills. A lot of times these students don't have English-speaking family members who can help them. So this gives the student a dedicated person to help them. Our schools do have sometimes support from reading assistants and so on, but there are just so many students, especially from the Zoom years, who are so far behind in their grade levels. So with our volunteers, they actually help bring these students back to reading at their grade level. It's a wonderful program. The volunteers get as much out of the program as the students, because we can see them progressing from when we started with them to when at the end of the school year. So it's wonderful.
So how many schools is the program?
We're in 17, yeah, we're in 17 schools in the Coachella Valley, which is amazing. So we span the Palm Springs, the Desert Sands, and the Coachella Valley school districts. So this past school year, we had 550 volunteers working in the schools with these children.
And so is there a training for volunteers to how to work with the students and help them with their reading?
Absolutely. We have training sessions can be done in person or over Zoom, where we go through with them what the program is about, because we want people to understand our values and why we're doing this. And then we spend some time going through them. What types of things can a teacher ask you to do? And which, whether it's phonics, whether it's, it could be kindergartners and just helping them with their sounds, with their ABCs and so on. So the nice thing about it is that a volunteer tells us what grade level is their preference. We have people who prefer to work with the younger students, and we have people who prefer work with the older students. And so we match a student, a teacher who has certain level of students with what the volunteer wants as someone that they would like to work with.
So what are the grade levels that Read With Me works with?
Great question. We can go from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade. And even in the 6th grade, a lot of times you may have students that have just transferred into the school, so they may be behind their peers in the 6th grade and need to catch up. So, I mean, our volunteers can go across the board at any of the schools.
So what's the result in some of the schools? I know they do testing and all that kind of thing. Is there do the schools tell you Read With Me has really had a great impact?
Well, that's an excellent question, because about 3 years ago, the Coachella Valley School District, because they want to keep expanding the schools, they actually implemented a program where we provide the school district which students had volunteers over the school year. And then what they do is compare the reading scores for these children at the beginning of the school year, because they do this for all the students, beginning of the school year, middle of the school year, at the end of the school year. And then they gauge the progress of the students who had the Read With Me volunteers with the students who did not have the volunteers. Now we do it, we level it over the grade, because we don't want any teacher to feel that, we're saying, hey, we're better than them. These teachers have 25 to 30 students in a class. They can't provide the individual attention, which is why they love us. And just, we have seen on average 50%, 100%, even 150% improvement in the reading scores of the students who have Read With Me volunteers. And this is what is provided by the district. So we have this information, and this district stands behind the fact that they love our program and want us to be there.
Well, that's a pretty amazing statistic. So congratulations to Read With Me for that, and for helping improve the reading skills of our students in the Coachella Valley. Now, if someone wants to volunteer, how would they get in touch with you?
That's we have a website, and you can contact us through that website. It's readwithmevolunteers with an S.com, no spaces. So readwithmevolunteers.com. And we will be happy to, we'll respond to you. We'll ask you where you live so we can match you to where's the closest school, but we also provide buses. So we have certain points in the valley where you can pick up a bus. We have a bus that leaves from Costco in La Quinta. We have a bus that leaves from Sacred Heart. So we have buses at Sun Valley. So it's actually becomes a nice little social event. You all get on the bus, go to the school, work with your students, and then come back. So it's a morning it's a morning where you do that. But we also have afternoon opportunities for those people who are busy in the mornings. We actually have after school programs, which is really nice because you have a student dedicated to you for 1 hour twice a week. You could do, you don't have to do both days of the week, but a lot of people, once they get started, love to do like Tuesday, Thursday afternoons, and they work with the same child during that time. And you really see the progress in their reading improvement while you're there.
So are you also a volunteer as well as a spokesperson?
Yes, that's absolutely. As a matter of fact, I volunteered yesterday over Zoom with the Seaview Elementary, which is our furthest school by the Salton Sea. So they actually wanted us to volunteer. So they arranged for a program after school where a number of us volunteers Zoom one-on-one with the students. And it's not ideal, but I'm telling you, these kids really love the attention. And they really progress.
So how many volunteers do you have?
Oh, this past school year, we had 550 volunteers across the 17 schools. And you can volunteer any day of the week. So Monday through Friday. So we have a lot of flexibility in helping you pick out which school you can work with. And that's what I think we want to make sure.
As I understand it, you're expanding and need more volunteers?
Yes, we are going to be adding, we added 2 schools just this past January, but we started small with them because, they had not had experience. Agua Caliente and JFK in Indio, Agua Caliente in Cathedral City. And we are going to be expanding them to do the full grade spectrum at the end of the year. And then we always have, people move out of the valley. So we always have opportunities to have you join any of the 17 schools.
So why don't you tell us that website again so people will remember it?
Read with me volunteers with an S.com.
And that's one just whole word, readwithmevolunteers.com.
Right. So
you're a volunteer. What's it like? What's it like from a volunteer perspective to do this work?
That's a great question. The teacher provides you the materials, so you don't have to go there with a set of books that you work with. The teacher knows the level of the child's reading, and they provide you with the aids if it's a younger student. Lots of fun little games, alphabet games. Older students, it's a reading at their level, and then you start with having the child read to you, and if they have trouble with pronunciation, you help them. If you see it's something phonetically and that they should be able to do, you work with them on that. You help them with their fluency. I had 2 girls I volunteered, they were cousins, and they read like robots. The cat in the hat. I said, wait a minute, I hear you guys talking all the time. You don't talk like that. So you start practicing the sentences again so that they start speaking like, more fluently. And they had a great deal of fun starting to really, use emphasis in it and so on. So it's really just so heartwarming watching how they progress.
Well, and that's one of the things I'm sure that for the volunteers, you really develop a closeness with the students and become invested in making sure that they're successful.
Yes, you absolutely do. And one of the things we encourage is for you to spend the time at the beginning of any session with the student to learn a little bit about them. You tell them a little bit about you. Easy way of starting is, how many brothers and sisters? Do you have any pets? And they get excited about talking to you. And I had one student, his birthday was the day before my birthday in November. And so when we met the next time, we both asked each other, oh, what was your favorite gift? Or how was your birthday? And so on. So they love you to ask them to remember something they said and to talk to them about it. And they really, really enjoy meeting with you. One last thing, when I used to volunteer in the kindergarten class, when I would walk into the door in the morning, they would start jumping up and down saying, Mrs. Callimanis, is it my turn? Because they love that you're spending the time with them and helping them because they know you're there to help them. And that's really special.
Now, how did this program start?
Oh, that's a great question.
Some of the history.
So Roberta and Clay Klein were parishioners at Sacred Heart, and they heard about the plight of the Coachella Valley schools. We're talking 18 years ago. And they went with their pastor to meet with the principal at Mecca Elementary, one of the really impoverished schools in the Coachella Valley district. And when they spoke to the principal, they thought that they would be told, we need books, we need school supplies, things like that. Well, the teacher said to them, the principal said to them, we could use your English-speaking volunteers to come to our schools and work with the students. Because a lot of these, if there's an English-speaking parent at home, they may be working 2 jobs and not be there. And they may only have a grandparent watching them at nights. So these children, they said, these children need the extra help for reading, comprehension, speaking. And so that's how the program started. 2 school buses would come to Sacred Heart, take the volunteers to the school, they'd work and then get on the buses and come back. So we have a number of places where you can either drive yourself any day of the week, or that we have school bus, or not. They're no longer school buses. We used to use Cardiff. We use one of the other bus companies. So you have a nice little coach that takes you there. So you're not on a school bus anymore.
Well, that's nice. And I know that, Read With Me is very good at acknowledging their volunteers. Didn't you just have an annual luncheon? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. The Berger Foundation so believes in our program that they provide us a yearly grant so our volunteers can get together, because it's a great way of sharing stories, recognizing the volunteers of the year and so on. So we just had that event the beginning of the month, and it was well attended. Everybody just, leaves. We have students who actually talk to the talk and say how the program has helped them. So it's very, very energizing for our volunteers, and it really gives people a chance to meet, and it's a way of recognizing, which we couldn't do if the Berger Foundation wouldn't fund this for us.
Well, they're a great friend here in the community to many organizations, and so that's. Yes. I just wanted to bring up that event because I've had the pleasure of going a few times and hearing some of those stories and talking with some of the volunteers. And I'm proud to say that the Joslyn Center is, I think, the only senior center in the Valley right now that helps with this program. So if there are any more out there, and where do you get your volunteers from? I know the Joslyn Center provides volunteers. Where do you get them from?
Well, sometimes if our members are part of a development, they may, have a meeting, invite us to a meeting at their development where we can talk to them. A lot of it is word of mouth. One of your volunteers here at the Joslyn Center actually recruited 4 more volunteers to join the program just this past year. So word of mouth, because once people start volunteering and love it, they tell their friends, and that's probably word of mouth. But we go to, we do have events. We go to local churches. We speak at the church. So we go to whatever organization will allow us to come and talk to their members.
So Alana, I want to thank you. We could probably go on for another 20 minutes talking about Read With Me and how important it is. I really want to thank you for joining us. And one more time with that website for people that may be inspired to volunteer.
Sure. Read With Me Volunteers with an S.com, all one word.
And also, if you're nearby the Joslyn Center, the Joslyn Center will help you with that volunteering. So you can stop by the Joslyn Center and talk with Judy. Alana, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate what Read With Me does, and those statistics you talked about that the school districts provided you about the improvement in reading scores, that speaks volumes for the wonderful work that you individually and the program does throughout the Valley. So thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, and to our listeners, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week with Interview Fridays. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.